Alright, so the main part of this is all about research. You have to research these things. Like, I'm picturing a date in my head like 1920s. I don't know why. Uh, so I have a factory. It's 1920s. What did they use for lighting back in the 20s? Because I certainly wasn't alive in the 20s to see what kind of factory lighting there was. And I'm just looking around and seeing that these were a very common light source. They look like chicken lights. Okay. And I'm thinking that would be an awesome addition to the very 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 top, to have some of these chicken type lights hanging. So I'm going to do a model, and one of the things that I'm going to make you guys do is a light that would represent this factory. You can put a date behind it, and it has to be an older date because that's the name of the game with this. It's a vintage piece. And I'm going to start out by modeling, by extruding both the top and bottom and hit and smooth. The purpose of this also is to show students that really, I have a lot of students that just do not take modeling seriously. I don't want to say that, but really, modeling is very freaking secondhand to these students. And if you're getting into a game design degree, really, it's all about this. Really, I gave up on modeling in Maya quite a bit recently. I've switched over to Blender because it has a whole lot of shortcut keys, and a polygon is a polygon. So Blender can keep up with me, not to brag, but I can keep up with Blender quite well. Maya, it's just a little bit slow for me, and it has a lot of errors. So control right click, to edge loop utilities, to edge loop and delete will get rid of any weird edge loops I might have. And I'm trying to keep this as low poly as possible, but also I'm trying to keep the design good. So we've all had modeling type of lessons out there. You certainly had modeling 1 and modeling 2 if you're at this stage of development. So extruding stuff and moving it around is nothing new. But just know that you should get to the point where you're not thinking about this stuff at all. The minute you think, the creativity goes out the window. There should be no bounds or limits. Maybe polygon limit from time to time, but other than that, really no limit. I'm going to take these faces, I'm going to duplicate them. And once I duplicate those faces, I undid that by the way. I pull them up a little bit, and this is going to be my new object. So you see me do that a lot. I always love doing that. Okay, so that's going to be my new object, and I'm thinking a big ridiculous light bulb here. And I'm always thinking, what's that going to look like smooth? Big ridiculous light bulb. Put that in this fixture. Maybe do a squash. So it's just sitting in there. That's good. I like this. They had a little bit more curves to it, but this is low poly, and it should do the job quite nicely. Add a nice place to hang it. And after that, I'll tighten it up so when I do a smooth again, like if I did mesh smooth, what would happen? That's perfect. It's exactly what I want. This is a little thick though. So I always hit undo, always insert an edge loop, mesh smooth it, and that's what I want right there. Good. Okay, I see one more thing. Keep that from flattening out. Alright, so object 1 and object 2 are two different objects. I can go like this to go to object, and I can select just that one light bulb. Now remember, it's all about a glowing material versus a material that's going to be on it to do the color. I like this green. It's pretty neat. So I'm going to go with that, and I'm just going to go Photoshop right away and knock that out. What would help is if I steal the color of the green. So I'm going to right click and copy one of these lamps. And paste it in. And let's see if I can get that to go. So copy image. I'm going to double click this layer to unlock it and edit paste. There we go. So now I have that green and I can start working on this. Alright, this is a new document that's 2048 by 2048. I always aim a little high for this stuff because I can always reduce it down, but I can never upscale it. This is a very watered down texture. The only thing that makes it different is it has this little fleck stuff that appears, and that could be the actual picture. But nonetheless, I'll add it to it. I'll go like that, make a new layer. I'll fill this layer with a 50% gray with the fill tool, and I'll go filter, noise, add noise, and I'll choose a noise value and then reduce this down to something else. This looks good. I like this. It's just a little bit too bright. Luckily, we can color correct it using one of these. So if I click on the yin yang, I can go to exposure and I can up the exposure quite a bit, and then I get that color again. So that's a good starting point for that texture. It's got a little noise. It's perfect. Alright, so I'm going to save this as light underscore material. And then we'll use TGA as the format. This is a color map, so instead of material, maybe I should put CM. I'll hit 24-bit. And then we'll go right back in and attach that material texture to the object. I'll get it as best I can here as a preview goes, and then we'll bring it into our level. Okay, so that is called Video Warehouse. video warehouse being this one. And if I sort by date, and then by date, I have this. And I can click and drag it into the texture. Alright, cool. So in order for this to work, I just middle mouse button, click and drag, and attach it to default, and then attach that to the lamp. In this case, I'm going to attach it to all the lamp via the material by middle mouse button, clicking and dragging. So you see this is the texture, this is that ball. If this one doesn't work, it says ramp shader. That's probably the wrong shader. I probably want a Lambert. Middle mouse button, click and drag over to default. And then middle mouse button, click and drag that over to the lamp. Alright, pretty good, except for the fact that UVs suck on this. And you can see that here, the UVs are very poor. Even though this is going to be 80 foot in the air, I'm going to still model it out with the idea that people are going to see it straight on. So in the next video, we'll look at the UVs for this thing, do them, and then go on.